What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping back into the Fall of X with X-Men issue number 28. This will be the only issue connecting the Fall of X this week. But man, this is an issue that you are not gonna want to miss. The Fall of X is beginning to reach its peak. Our heroes are preparing to make their plays. With Firestar being labeled a traitor by all of mutantkind, there are only a select individuals that actually know she is working on the side of mutants, that she is undercover, given this mission by Jean Grey. But more than that, our mutants are gonna find themselves with a very unlikely ally. So when I tell you that this is a comic you do not want to miss, I highly recommend that you adhere to that, cause this issue is bringing some freaking fire. Now, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so in this issue, we are picking up with Sunfire. When all of this began, the whole Fall of X series started, or the Fall of X event started. We saw that Sunfire went looking for the voice of Orcus. He went looking for Redroot. And with Redroot being found, with Redroot being at death's door, in order to save her life, Sunfire sunk her roots deep into his veins. But after weeks, both of them were dying, though he had promised to bring her home no matter what the cost. When he found himself at the Krakoan gateways, he learned that they had been closed. Though at the time, he doesn't understand why. He didn't have the time or luxury to worry about that. Being directed down a path that might actually bring him home, he wasn't taking the risk, and so he traverses the snowy land. He walked for days with his responsibility staked close to his heart. He was lost and all the strength in his bones had left. Falling down to the ground and ripping Redroot from his chest, he apologizes. He apologizes to Redroot for his failure, his Iraqi sister. This is the end for both of them. But this is when a shadowy figure stands before him, having a red seed in hand, the Okara seed. It needs one thing to grow, that is mutant blood. As this seed is planted in the blood of Sunfire, we see that this shadowy figure is none other than Apocalypse. This is where Apocalypse went. He went to gather his heroes. He went to get something that might be able to fight back against what is happening, to fight back against Genesis and her forces. And so as we watch as he saves Sunfire's life, ensures that Redroot does not die, he tells Sunfire to be healed and to also be prepared. Because with this gateway opening up, Apocalypse and Sunfire will march to war. This is where we pick up at the Orcus Control Center. Right now, they are currently arguing about Dr. Doom. Doom has been keeping a few mutants on his territory. Fei Long says that he is flaunting this, rubbing it in their face. Dr. Stasis could care less. It seems that Dr. Doom is trying to coerce them in. He is trying to bring Orcus to them. While they sit here and argue, we have Firestar who is stealing data. Right under their noses, they can't even see what is happening. And Firestar goes on to say that while she was undercover with the X-Men, they knew about the mutants in Latveria, but they weren't really concerned about them. The powers weren't that great and their numbers were very small. Add in the fact that they lacked any kind of real training. They were not seen as any concern. Dr. Stasis says that maybe he'll go take care of Doom once he has injected Juggernaut's power into himself. And so with Firestar taking off, she heads to the Gulag, Randall's Island. For weeks, Firestar played along with the monsters who have been trying to exterminate her people, all the while trying to slow down and slip information to the X-Men. As she walks into the changing room, we see that she knocks out one of the guards. She takes her uniform, and she makes her way directly to Juggernaut. Right now, the Juggernaut is on the operating table, and they have him sedated as long as the IV drip keeps on dripping. That's where Firestar takes the opportunity and she boils it all up inside. So any sedative that was in this IV drip, it's no longer working, which means it is only a matter of time before Juggernaut wakes up. Getting into a secure place, changing her uniform back into Firestar. She wants to make it look like she came here to tell Cyclops to accept the deal that they are offering him. She says everything that Orcus would expect her to say, but while she's sitting there talking to him, insulting him, she is typing in Morse code on his chest. She apologizes for not escaping yet. She apologizes for everything that has transpired. But today, Juggernaut needed her more. As she tells him to take the deal, he plays it off just right. And that is when the rumbling begins. The Juggernaut is free, and Firestar goes to face him. The one thing that Firestar would not have to fake today was losing a fight to Juggernaut. As he comes crashing through the wall, this is where he takes the opportunity to beat the living crap out of the Traitor, with Juggernaut beginning to throw hands and just hitting all these Orcus agents. He grabs hold of Firestar, and in the midst of them fighting, Firestar, she throws a thumb drive into the mouth of the Juggernaut. She quickly whispers in his ear to get this back to the X-Men, that she's still on the team and there is no time to explain. To rough me up, make it look good. This is where he takes Firestar and he slams her on the ground. And then he charges right out of here. Down in the Morlock tunnels, this is where we have Juggernaut showing up, letting Sync and the others know everything that he has just learned. And on this thumb drive are the files to disarm the bomb under Cyclops. More than that, there is a road trip that seems to be planned, with Orcus detecting a group of mutants in Latveria. This is where they send in Shadowcat. But Sync, he insists that Miss Marvel go along with her. And so as they take off, this is what takes us to the Bloom. 3 individuals that we really haven't seen since the beginning of the Fall of X. We have Moira, we have Nimrod, and then we have Sentinel. And they are currently grilling Firestar. They are trying to figure out how this is such a coincidence that the Juggernaut was able to break out the same day that you happen to arrive. But if they check the logs, they will see that she arrived twice that day. What she is doing is saying that this was Mystique. That checking in twice that day was because Mystique came in looking like Firestar, and she is the one that broke out the Juggernaut. She tells them that if you change your mind about killing me, she'll be popping some pain pills in her bunk. And Nimrod must admit that he does like her. But she is right about one thing. They should have confirmed the death of Mystique at the Hellfire Gala. But they are also thinking that Dr. Stasis's little pet, Starfire, her time has come to an end. This is where we pick up with Shadowcat and Miss Marvel, airdropping into Latveria. Shadowcat not necessarily needing a parachute, we see her land with ease. While Miss Marvel getting tangled up in the trees, she is able to bring herself down. Once they get on the ground, this is where they run into the one and only Wolverine. Seeing Shadowcat, he must admit, he's not really fond of her looking like Ogun. Even more, those are Ogun swords. The other X-Men had brought Wolverine into the fold, saying that right now Shadowcat might need a friend, with Miss Marvel completely oblivious to what they're even doing here, not knowing where she is, not even knowing if this is Germany, Austria, or what. Shadowcat didn't tell her, and to be honest, Shadowcat didn't even want her here. But this is when they hear the voice, letting Miss Marvel know that this is not Europe at all. This is Latveria. This is where we have the arrival of Dr. Doom and his mutant squad. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. One heck of an issue. Not only is Apocalypse here, we get to see Dr. Doom, we have Juggernaut breaking out of jail. This issue was freaking fire. Now, I was really hoping that we would see more of the trials and tribulations of Sunfire rescuing Redroot. It looks like they kind of wanted to skip over that. They wanted to focus on just getting Sunfire back into the fight. And who better to bring him back into the fight than freaking Apocalypse. Now, we knew Apocalypse disappeared. He walked off with his seed, and he said that he was going to go gather his forces. To what end? We don't really know. But I think at this point it is safe to say that he will be fighting against Genesis. That he will come in almost like a savior to mutantkind. At least to the people of Araco. The people on the terraformed planet known as Mars. And with Sunfire by his side, they can do some freaking damage. We also don't know if this is the only mutant that he is bringing along with him. Storm has already taken out a handful of the Children of Apocalypse. So what stands left is the Annihilation Staff and Genesis. And now Doctor Doom is in the freaking fold. Now we can assume that Doctor Doom does not like Orcus, an organization hell-bent on taking over the world and taking out powered individuals. We have seen that it is only going to be a matter of time before they come for individuals like Doctor Doom, individuals like the Inhumans, and Doctor Doom having mutants on his property, on his land. This is kind of like a big middle finger to Orcus. And we know that Orcus is going to be coming for Doom and his mutants. That Doom is not one to side with anybody, really. But if some people want to help him beat the crap out of somebody that wants to come onto his land, he's not one to turn down that kind of help. You guys know how much I love Doctor Doom, and I am excited to see him brought into the fold, even if it's going to be in a very limited capacity. But yeah, I really enjoyed this comic. The artwork was great, the story was fantastic, it's definitely moving the plot forward, and I am so excited to see what comes next. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories, if you would like to get completely caught up on everything that has been going on with the X-Men or the Fall of X. Go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is going to get you completely caught up on everything going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. If you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.